Supporters of Pauline Hanson and her One Nation party are going to be buoyed by reports she and her party, they aren't going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, Senator Hanson's One Nation could lead the government within 15 years, conceding that she may step aside before then, though. It's a big, bold prediction. Senator Hanson, I'm pleased to say, joins us now. Senator, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Nice to chat with you again. Firstly, you're very bullish about the future of the party, even if you're not at the helm. What's your thoughts and what gives you all the confidence?
I believe that Australians are pretty much conservative, but we don't have the Conservative Party and the Liberal and National Party anymore. A lot of people are leaving them in droves for the policies they're leading. I've also always been there to support and help and realise, okay, we've got a long way to go. But when I see the leadership under the Liberal Party now, I think, no, I'm going to go for it. I want to put forward the policies that I believe will give this country prosperity, give people a decent standard of living and way of life. And I've always been there putting out policies first before the coalition, whether it be the voice, whether it be immigration or multiculturalism. Even the march, where were they at the march last weekend for Australians? It's just, I've had enough. I really have. And I think, no, I'm not here to be the bridesmaid anymore for the coalition government. And I'm going to push forward and I'm going to put pressure on them.
There's disjointed, there's disagreement, there's disarray, there seems to be undermining of Susan Lee, the leader. Do you think that it could be the alternative party, the opposition, that we're not getting from the coalition at the moment in this country?
Yes, I believe that we can. If you look at the policies that we put out at the last election, I was against the foreign investment in Australia. Guess what? The Libs took that policy and so did the Labor, but they're only doing it for 2 years. We need to go far beyond that. Even reduction in the spending. We're going to rein in $90 billion a year of spending. If we don't rein in government spending, we're actually going to go further backwards and become a third world country because we won't have the money to provide the services that we need. The climate change net zero, I've led that constantly all the time. The coalition can't even get their act together and know what they stand for. Net zero is destroying our industries and manufacturing if we want to move forward as a country into the future. So this is why I just need to put the policies out there, tell people what we stand for, what we intend to do, how we intend to tackle these things. And I think that in the future, and as I said, Bill, I know that I won't be the leader, okay? I know my faults, and I know I'm not perfect. But the whole fact is that the party that I started is to represent the Australian and the Australian people. And this is why you got more people getting on board. We're getting in, since I've been back since 2016, we've had 11 members across the country elected to Parliament. So people are starting to wake up to One Nation.
There's definitely a level of disenchantment with the coalition at the moment and with the government. There's no doubt about that. Are you getting that sense? And so would you be talking about, what sort of time frame would you be talking if you're able to get in a position where you are running the country, so to speak?
Look, federal politics, that's further down the track. It's not in the near future. I'm talking, that's probably about 3 or 4 elections, possibly more. So it's about gaining the confidence of the Australian people to actually give their first preference to One Nation and give us the opportunity. But where we've had that balance of power, we've used it in such a managed way that we're not radicals. We're not extreme right, as what they're trying to say. And yes, the Australians, I went in the march last weekend down in Canberra with my 2 other senators. The support was absolutely amazing. We were the only politicians, apart from the member for Kennedy, to actually do it. And this is where we stand shoulder to shoulder with the Australian people. Even all this, what's going on with Palestine and Gaza Strip and what's happening overseas, and even with the encroachment of China now and the threats and the warships and everything like that, I think we've had a pathetic government to really deal with these matters, and they back away. And I don't think the Albanese government, they've bought the votes. They have bought the young votes. They're brainwashing the kids in the educational system. They're actually bought the vote for the students, getting rid of the HECS debt. We're out of control with NDIS. The Aboriginal industry, Australia's been taken over. We're not united. We're a divided nation.
Now, I think people are wanting to hear some of that, and they want to hear a strong message in opposition to the government, and they're certainly not getting anything like that. They're getting nothing out of the coalition at the moment.
Correct. And this is why last week I put up a notice motion to stop the desecration of our flag. And that was voted down. It was hijacked by the Labor Party, who wanted to bring in both the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island flags as national flags. They're not national flags. They're a symbol that was passed in 1995. The rides. Where's the pushback from both the coalition, because they started bringing the ICE rides in 2019, so it's all right to go over and support terrorist organisations and then say, oh, don't worry about it, we'll bring you back into the country. I'm terribly opposed to that. I want to make sure the people we bring into the country are going to assimilate and want to be Australians. We've watered down our citizenship with the people that we've brought into the country. We've had fantastic migrants that have come here. A lot of these migrants that come from migrant background have stood as candidates for myself, and they embrace me and they say, Pauline, you were so right. We love this country. We don't want it to become like the place that we've left, and neither do I.
What did you make of what Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price has claimed and walked back from now that the Indian migration numbers were brought here basically to buy votes for Labor?
I'll tell you something, Bill. In a lot of essence, she was right. But no, don't just pin it on the Indians. I've had Indians that have stood for me as candidates. Fantastic. I got a lot of support in Western Australia from the Indian community. But the fact is, and this is truth, that Barry Jones, who was the president of the Labor Party at the Population Forum in 1997 and the former minister of the Labor Party, said that they actually brought people in from Greece and Italy purely for the vote. They had no concept of caring about their social cohesion, and he admitted in that forum to bring it in purely for the vote. And Labor, that's Labor. That's what they've done all the time. They don't care about the makeup of the country. And that's what we must look at, is the makeup of the country. I'm not having a go at any race at all because, like I said, they have contributed to this country. They're hard workers. But you have to do it in a managed way so we don't have too many of one. I haven't changed my tune, Bill. I've said this from day dot. I've said it with multiculturalism. We are multiracial. But at the end of the day, I'm sick of hearing about the Chinese community, the Indian community, the American community, or the British community. We should see ourselves as Australians.
I couldn't agree with you more. Look, you've conceded that One Nation wouldn't ascend to running a state government or federal government in your time, but you've ruled out your daughter Lee and your Chief of Staff James Aspley as replacements. Who could be running it?
Not running it, that's standing for... Oh, you mean... No, I stated they would not be standing for the New South Wales Senate
Gotcha.
as the senator. So I want both of them onto the floor of Parliament. They are the future senators of this nation under the banner of One Nation. I don't intend to leave in the near future. I will be standing at the next election. How much longer after that, I'm not sure. You might see another 6 years in me. Who knows? You have to consider your health. And I said to my staff, if I ever become starting like a Joe Biden, please tap me on the shoulder and don't let me get that bad.
Haven't got any signs of that yet, have you?
Realistic about it, Bill. You have to be realistic about it. And the thing is that I won't move on till I know the party is in good hands with people who will carry on my legacy and to keep fighting for the Australian people. What I believe needs to be done to get us back on the track of prosperity and giving people a decent standard of living way of life.
Although you've ruled out your daughter Lee as a potential leader, how does she feel about the future leadership and of the country?
No, I haven't ruled her out, Bill. I said I don't believe in nepotism. Just because she's my daughter doesn't mean to say that she's going to be leading the party. It will be the person that I believe has the ability to be able to do it. A leader is a person that will take into consideration, make the tough decisions, but you have to also, with policy, is you have to be a strategy as well. And she's got a lot to learn. She's only just come on board into politics this year, a month before the election. But I think she's got a lot to offer. But she has to prove herself, not only to me, but to the members of the party.
Would you personally like to spend a bit of time, almost like mentoring, I guess, on the floor of Parliament with her?
I'd love to. That's why the next election, it will be mother and daughter running for the Senate in the first time ever. And if we get elected, and so she's working extremely hard. She's working with interest groups and different people in Tasmania. The number of people who are coming to her now, not as a member of Parliament, which she isn't, to actually help with their issues and what's happening, and gender identity, which we just signed a pledge to support women's rights, and that's where One Nation stands. She's a good kid. She really is.
Yeah.
And she's got her head screwed on the right way. She's a little bit more diplomatic than me. I'm very straightforward. She has a different way of approaching an issue, and that's the younger generation.
Lovely to chat with you, as always. Thanks very much for your time, Pauline.
Thanks for having me on, Bill. Bye.